Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.
Leela said, "O Goddess, your words are truly enlightening. However, since I have never been exposed to them before, the wisdom is not well grounded. I wish to see the original house of holy Vasishtha." Saraswati said, "O Leela, give up this form of yours and attain the pure spiritual insight, for only Brahman can really see or realize Brahman. My body is made of pure light, pure consciousness. Your body is not. With this body of yours, you cannot even visit the places of your own imagination. Then how can you enter the field of another's imagination? But if you attain the body of light, you will immediately see the holy man's house. Affirm to yourself, I shall leave my body here and take a body of light. With that body, like the scent of incense, I shall go to the house of the holy man. Even as water mixes with water, you will become one with the field of consciousness. By the persistent practice of such meditation, even your body will become one of pure consciousness and subtle. For I see even my body as consciousness. You do not, for you see the whole world as matter. Such ignorance arises of its own accord, but is dispelled by wisdom and inquiry. In fact, such ignorance does not even exist. There is neither unwisdom nor ignorance, neither bondage nor liberation. There is but one pure consciousness." Dear Leela, in dream, the dream body appears to be real. But when there is an awakening to the fact of dream, the reality of that body vanishes. Even so, the physical body, which is sustained by memory and latent tendencies, is seen to be unreal when they are seen to be unreal. At the end of the dream, you become aware of the physical body. At the end of these tendencies, you become aware of the ethereal body. When the dream ends, deep sleep ensures. When the seed of thought perishes, you are liberated. In liberation, the seeds of thought do not exist. But if the liberated sage appears to live and to think, he only appears to do so like a burnt cloth lying on the floor. This is, however, not like deep sleep or unconsciousness, in both of which the seed of thought lie hidden. By persistent practice, egotism is quietened. Then you will naturally rest in your consciousness and the perceived universe heads towards the vanishing point. What is called practice? Thinking of that alone, speaking of that, conversing of that with one another, utter dedication to that one alone. This is called abhyasa or practice by the wise. When one's intellect is filled with beauty and bliss, when one's vision is broad, when passion for sensual enjoyment is absent in one, that is practice. When one is firmly established in the conviction that this universe has never ever been created, and therefore it does not exist as such, and when thoughts like "this is world" and "this is I" do not arise at all in one, this is abhyasa or practice. It is then that attraction and repulsion do not arise. The overcoming of attraction and repulsion by the use of will force is austerity, not wisdom. At this stage, Evening set in, and the court dispersed. Early next morning, the court assembled, and Vasishtha continued his discourse. Vasishtha continued, O Rama, Saraswati and Queen Leela immediately sat in deep meditation, or Nirvikalpa Samadhi. They had risen above the body consciousness, because they had been given up all notions of the world. It had completely vanished in their consciousness. They roamed freely in their wisdom bodies, though it seemed that they had traveled millions of miles in space. They were still in the same room, but on another plane of consciousness. They saw all that were already in the mind of Saraswati, and which Saraswati wanted to show Queen Leela. Having seen the oceans, mountains, the protector of the universe, the kingdom of gods, the sky, and the very bowels of the earth, Leela saw her own house. O Rama, the two ladies then entered into the holy man's house. The whole family was in mourning. On account of their grief, the house itself had a depressing atmosphere. By the practice of yoga of pure wisdom, Leela had acquired that faculty by which her thoughts instantly materialized. She wished, these, my relations, should see me and Saraswati as we were ordinary womenfolk. They appeared so to the mourning family. But the two ladies were of supernatural radiance, which dispelled the gloom that pervaded the house. They asked the eldest son of the departed holy couple, Tell us the cause of the sorrow which seems to afflict all these people here. The son of the holy couple replied, O ladies, in this very house there lived a pious man and his devoted wife, who were both devoted to a righteous life. Recently, they abandoned their children and grandchildren, their house and their cattle, and ascended to heaven. Therefore, to us, the whole world appears to be empty. Hearing this, Leela laid her hand on the young man's head. Instantly, he was relieved of his sorrow. Leela asked Saraswati, How was it that we were seen by this family of mine here, and we were not seen by my husband, who was ruling a kingdom, when we visited him? Saraswati answered, Then you were still clinging to your notion, I am Leela. Now you have overcome that body consciousness. Till the consciousness of duality is completely dispelled, you cannot act in the infinite consciousness. You cannot even understand it. Even as one standing in the sun does not know the coolness of the shade of a tree. But now, if you go to your husband, you will be able to deal with him as before. Leela, you and your husband have been through many incarnations, 3 of which you already know. In this incarnation, the king has slipped deep into the snare of worldliness, and he thinks, I am the Lord, I am strong, I am happy, etc. Though, from the spiritual standpoint, the whole universe is experienced here. From the physical point of view, millions of miles separate the planes. In the infinite consciousness, in every atom of it, universes come and go like particles of dust in a beam of sunlight that shines through a hole in the roof. These come and go like ripples on the ocean. Leela reminisced, O divinity, since emerging as a reflection in the infinite consciousness, I have had 800 births. Today I see this. I have been a nymph, a vicious human woman, a serpent, a forest tribal woman. On account of evil deed, I became a creeper, and by proximity of sages, I became a sage's daughter. I became a king, and on account of evil deeds done, I became a mosquito, a bee, a deer, a bird, a fish, and again I became a celestial. After which I became a tortoise and a swan. I became a mosquito again. I have also been a celestial nymph, when other celestials used to fall at my feet. Just as the scale of balances seesaw constantly, I have also been caught up in the seesaw of this repetitive existence. Rama asked, Holy Sir, how was it possible for the two ladies to travel to distant galaxies in the universe, and how did they overcome the numerous barriers on the way? Vasishtha replied, O Rama, where is universe? Where are galaxies? Where are barriers? The two ladies remained in the queen's inner apartment. It was there that the holy man Vasishtha was ruling as King Viduratha. It was he who was King Padma before. All this happened in pure space. There is no universe, no distance, no barriers. Conversing with one another, the two ladies emerged from the room and proceeded towards a village on top of a mountain. On account of the intensity of her practice of yoga of wisdom, Leela had acquired full knowledge of the past, present, and future. She recollected the past and said to Saraswati, O divinity, some time ago, my husband and I lived an ordinary, unenlightened life. We did not practice self-inquiry. After saying this, Leela showed to Saraswati her previous dwelling and continued, See, this is my favorite calf. On account of my separation, it had been constantly weeping for the past 8 days. In this place, my husband ruled the world because he was determined to be a great king soon. He had indeed become an emperor within the short span of 8 days. Though it looked like a long time. In this house, my husband lives unseen. Here, in the space of the size of a thumb, we imagine the kingdom of my husband to be 1,000,000 square miles. O divinity, surely both my husband and I were of pure consciousness. Yet, on account of the mysterious, illusory power, Maya, my husband's kingdom appeared to encompass hundreds of mountains. This is truly marvelous. I wish to enter into the capital city where my husband rules. Come, let us go there. For what is impossible of achievement to the industrious? Saraswati and Leela rose into space and saw the whole creation, and beyond that was pure consciousness. Because of the celestial nature of this infinite consciousness, universes, jiva, and forms keep arising again and again, and by their own thought force return to a state of tranquility. All this is like the spontaneous play of a child. Of those countless universes, O Rama, in some there are only plants, some has Brahma, Vishnu, Rudra, and others as the presiding deities, and some have none at all. In some there are only animals and birds. In some there is an ocean. Some are solid rocks. Some are inhabited only by worms. Some are pervaded by dense darkness. In some, angels dwell. Some are forever illuminated. Some seems to be heading towards dissolution. Some seems to be falling in space towards destruction. Since consciousness exists everywhere forever, creation of these universes and their dissolution also goes on everywhere forever. All these are held together by a mysterious, omnipresent power. Rama, everything exists in the one infinite consciousness. Everything arises from it. It alone is everything. Having seen all this, Leela saw the inner apartment of the palace where the corpse of the king lay buried under a heap of flowers. There arose in her an intense wish to behold her husband's other life. Instantly, she broke through the summit of the universe and entered into the realm where her husband now ruled. At the same time, a mighty king who ruled over the Sindhu region was laying siege to her husband's kingdom. As the two ladies were coursing the space above the battlefield, they encountered countless celestials who had assembled there to witness the battle and the exploits of the great heroes. O Rama, still standing in the sky, Leela saw the two great armies closing in on each other, ready to engage themselves in battle. As evening set in, Leela's husband held council with the ministers concerning the events of the morning, and then he went to sleep. The two ladies left the place where they stood watching the fierce battle and, traveling like a breath of air, entered unobstructed into the closed apartment where the king was asleep. O Rama, it is impossible for one who is rooted in the idea that he is a physical body to pass through a subtle hole. It is the innermost conviction, I am the body, which is obstructed thus in its movement, that in fact manifest as such obstructions. When the former is absent, the latter is absent too. For the same infinite consciousness is also the individual consciousness, or the mind, and the cosmic space. Therefore, the ethereal body can enter anything anywhere, and it goes where the wish of its heart leads. Just as water ever remains water and flows down, and fire does not abandon its nature of rising up, consciousness remains forever consciousness. But he who has not understood this does not experience its subtlety or true nature. As is his understanding, so is his mind, for it is the understanding that is the mind. Yet, its direction can be changed by great effort. Normally, one's actions are in accordance with one's mind, that is, one's understanding. O Rama, everyone's consciousness is of this nature and power. In everyone's consciousness, there is a different idea of the world. Death and other such experiences are like cosmic dissolution, the night of cosmic consciousness. When that comes to an end, everyone wakes up to one's own mental creation, which is the materialization of one's ideas, notions, and delusions. Even as the cosmic being creates the universe after the cosmic dissolution, the individual creates his own world after his death. With this, we finish today's chapter. See you again.